Here we go. All right. This is chapter 3, solving with fractions, solving equations that contain fractions. This is the pre-assessment. And let's start with number 1. Number 1, now look, we can cancel fractions. If you want to cancel fractions even with one-step equations, I'm okay with that. But in this one, I don't mind if you just solve for the variable. But, and I'll do it both ways. You're going to add 7/5, add 7/5, and that gives us 10/5 equals x, or 2 equals x. Now, if you had that same equation, and my pen is not working, and you want to cancel, you look at the denominators, you distribute that 5, you get 3 equals 5x minus 7, add 7. 10 equals 5x, divide by 5, divide by 5, and you still get 2 equals x. With the one steps, I'm okay with you using the rudimentary dealing with fractions, but again, if you want to cancel out the fractions because you are now super comfortable with it, I love that. First thing we always have to do with mixed numbers is convert them to improper fractions. 2 times 3 plus 1 is -7/2 plus m. We would add 7/2, add 7/2. We would find a common denominator, which is 6. And 2 times 3 is 6. 7 times 3 is 21. Minus 7 is 14/6 equals m. And then we would reduce that to 7/3 equals m. We divide the numerator and denominator by 2. Let's cancel out. Let's do the canceling. That's going to end up being -7/2 plus m. We would multiply everything by 6. You get -7 equals 2 goes into 6 3 times, -21 plus 6m. Notice I'm distributing it. I'm doing a little bit of the work in my head. Not very good. I'm skipping steps. But because I'm not expecting you to use this method, I'm going to expect you to use the left side method. And that is 14/6 equals m, or 7/3 equals m. Still one step, when we have double signs, we always want to combine those, and we're going to convert that mixed number to an improper. So you have 67/10 equals b plus 5 times 5 plus 1 is 26/5. We're going to subtract 26/5. Subtract 26/5. Let's move all this over a little bit. Equivalency, 10, still 67, 10. So we multiply 5 times 2 and -26 times 2, which is -52. -52 and +67 leaves me with 15/10 equals b. And that gives me 3/2 equals b. If we want to use the, we get 67/10 equals b plus 26/5. LCM is 10. 10 times 67/10 leaves you with 67. 10 times b is 10b. 10 times 26/5. 5 cancels with the 10 2 times. 2 times 26 is 52. Then you subtract 52. And we're noticing the similarities between method 1 and method 2. You see a lot of the same, get out of there. You see a lot of the same numbers. Whoa, what happened there? I don't even know what happened there. That should go there, I guess. Oh, that's right. Hold on. That's kind of weird. Divide by 10, divide by 10, and you get 15/10 equals b, and 3/2, dividing the numerator and denominator by 5. Now we have just multiplication, and we have to multiply by the reciprocal. We don't want to divide in this, remember. We would not want to see, we don't want to divide by -9/4. That's not going to be good, right? Who wants to deal with that? Yucky. So what we do is we multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of -9/4 is -4/9. And now we want to cross cancel. So 4 goes into 25 times. That gives me -1. 9 goes into 27 3 times. That becomes 1. And you're left with v equals -3/5. And that's the only, well, I guess you could multiply by, oh, let's try that. You could get rid of the fractions. That's going to be very interesting. I've never done this, but let's stay with the, you look at your denominators, 4 and 20. Your common multiple is 20. So we multiply that, and that's 5. So -45 equals, 20s cancel. You forgot the v, Mr. Mac. And the 20s cancel, and you're left with -27. Divide by -45. Divide by, oh, I made a mistake. Oh. Whoa. Oh, no. Yeah, I did do a mistake. Look at that negative. Oh, thank goodness. Mr. Mac, this is a good thing. This is a great thing. Look at that. Because I checked my work, I caught a mistake. So that equals v equals -27 over -45. The two negatives cancel. And you get 27 over 45. 9 goes into both of those. So 9 goes into 27 3 times. 9 goes into 45 5 times. And you get 3/5. Oh, that's the beauty of checking your work. You will catch silly mistakes. Let's go here. Let's get rid of that. I know it's number 5. We should probably put the number somewhere else. Number 5. Let's do this for number 4. There we go. So you can see what number we're on. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal of 2. The reciprocal of 2 is 1/2. 1/2. And you get -1/4 equals A. That one's a bit of a tricky one. The 2's do not cancel. And if I have that starting problem, and I want to multiply by 2, the common denominator, or at least common multiple is 2. That gives you -1 equals 4a. Divide by 4, divide by 4. -1/4 equals a. Awesome. Let's move that number so we can, whoa. Moving that number. Looks like, I think that's number 6. So we want to multiply by the reciprocal of 3/2, which is 2/3. 2/3. We're going to cross cancel. The 3 in the denominator cancels with the 24 in the numerator, which is 8. Ooh, the 2 and 5 do not cancel. So we have -8 times 2, which is -16/5 equals P. Ooh, that's a really bizarre one. And we have -24/5 equals 3/2 P. The LCM of those is 10. Common multiple of 5 and 2 would be 10. And we multiply both things. So that gives me -48. And that gives me 15P. We're going to divide by 15, divide by 15. -48 over 15 equals P. What goes into 48 and 15? 3 does. 3 goes to 48. 48 divided by 3 equals 16. Negative 16 over, what did I say, 3? 3 goes into 15 5 times. So I should get negative 16/5. Yes, good checking. Oh, look at this. I'm so excited about my checking techniques. All right, we don't have to erase the 7 because we have to convert that mixed number to an improper fraction. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8. 8/3 r equals 11/2. Now we will absolutely find the LCM and cancel out all these fractions. So you have 6 times 3/2 plus 6 times 8/3 r equals 6 times 11/2. The 2 cancels with the 6 to make 3 times 3, which is 9. We have the 3 canceling with the 6, which is 2 times 8r, which is 16r, equals. We have the 2 in the denominator canceling with the 6 in the numerator to make 3 times 11, which is 33. We're going to subtract 9. We get 16r equals 24. And then we divide by 16, divide by 16. R equals 24/16. 4 goes into both of those. 4 goes into 24. 4 goes into 24 6 times. 4 goes into 16 4 times. So I can still reduce that to 3/2. So R equals 3/2. So notice that even though I reduced it by 4, I could found that my solution still can be reduced again. So I reduced 24/16 to 6/4, and I didn't see that 8 goes into both of those also. That would have been the greatest common factor. I divided it, reduced it by a common factor. Here we have 1 minus 3 times 1 plus 4 is 4/3 x equals 13/3. We cannot scrape the top even though they have these two of the same denominators. This does not have an equivalent denominator, so we're going to multiply by the LCM, which is 3. 3 times 1 plus 3 times negative 4/3 x. That negative stays with the 4/3, not this 3. Make sure that's a positive 3 right there. And then 3 times 13/3. My pen today is not working well. 3 times 1 is 3. No, that's going to be minus. Denominator cancels with the numerator. We're left with negative 4x equals 3 in the denominator cancels with 3 in the numerator, 13. Let's subtract 3. Negative 4x equals 10. Divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4. X equals negative 10/4, which can be reduced by 2/2, which gives me negative 5/2. Number 9, let's convert those mixed numbers. Negative 5/3 v. 2 times 2 plus 1 is 5, minus 5/2. Our denominators are 2, 3, and 6. LCM is 6. 6 times 5/6 equals 6 times negative 5/3 v plus 6 times negative 5/2. Got to make sure you have that plus sign right there. Can't just have no sign there. Let's cancel 6. You're left with 5 equals 3 in the denominator cancels with 6 in the numerator. And then you have 2 times negative 5v, which is negative 10v. You've got 2 in the denominator cancels with 2 in the numerator times negative 5 gives me negative 15. Now it's a two-step. Let's move the constant. You have 20 equals negative 10v, divide by negative 10, divide by negative 10, you get negative 2 equals v. Number 10, Oh, now we have variables on both sides and constants on both sides. They have already, there's nothing, I don't have to change because they're already improper fractions. So I just have to find the LCM of 9, 3, and 2. So what number was that? That was number 10. Number 10. So 9, 3, and 2. 9 is not a multiple of 2, so I can't choose 9. So I'll take the next multiple of 9 as 18. 18 is a multiple of 2. 18 is a multiple of 3. And 18 is a multiple of 9. So I'm going to multiply everything times 18 plus 18 times negative 7/3 x equals 18 times negative 3/2 x plus 18 times 2. 9 in the denominator cancels with 18 in the numerator. 2 times 28 gives me 56. 3 in the denominator cancels with 18 in the numerator. And I have 6 times negative 7x, which is negative 42x, equals 2 in the denominator cancels with 18 in the numerator. 9 times negative 3x is negative 27x. And 18 times 2 gives me 36. I have variables on the left side and on the right side. I have constants on the left side and the right side. I'm always going to get rid of my variables first. I'm going to move my variables. I'm going to move my variables to the right side, so I'm going to get rid of them on the left side. So what gets rid of negative 42 is a positive 42. Leaves me with 56. And now we have 42 and 27. I'm always going to take the smaller from the larger number. And since my signs are different, I'm going to take the difference of those two numbers. So that gives me 5, 15, and I have more positives than negatives. I have 42 positives, and I only have 27 negatives. So my answer is going to be positive x plus 36. And now this is a two-step equation. I'm going to get rid of things being added and subtracted first. That gives me 20 equals 15x. Divide by 15, and I get 20 over 15 equals x, which can be reduced by 5 over 5. 5 goes into 24 times. 5 goes into 15 3 times. So my answer is 4/3. What do we notice? 2 in the denominator of each of those terms. The shortcut, which I'm not always a fan of, is you can scrape those. And you can just automatically go to negative 9 plus n equals 5n plus 1. Now that's sophisticated. Not everybody's going to be able to see that, but that's the shortcut. I'm not a fan of shortcuts, but as we get better. So this is already ready. Let's do number 11. Let's just get rid of that because we are going, I don't know why that always does that. So we look at the denominators. We're going to multiply everything by 2. So 2 times negative 9/2 plus 2 times 1/2 n equals 2 times 5/2 n plus 2 times 1/2. 2 in the denominator, cancel with 2 in the numerator, you're left with negative 9. 2 in the denominator, cancel with 2 in the numerator, you're left with n. Don't write 1n, just write n. 2 in the denominator, cancel with 2 in the numerator, you're left with 5n. And 2 in the denominator, cancel with 2 in the numerator, you're left with 1. And that's how I get that equation, the shortcut equation. So we see that since 2 is consistent, every one has 2. You have a 2, and it must be every 2. Has to be the same denominator because that's going to cancel with the LCM. The LCM is the same for each term. That's why it cancels it. It wouldn't work with this one. It wouldn't work with this one because they have different denominators. You can't scrape. So we'll just do this. Let's move the variables first. I'm going to subtract n, and I'm going to get -9 equals 4n plus 1. I'm going to subtract 1. I get -10 equals 4n, divide by 4, divide by 4. -10 fourths equals n. I'm going to reduce it by 2 over 2, which gives me -5 halves equals n. And we don't have to do this one because it's the same equation. Whoa, look at that. We cannot scrape this because not only there's a whole number with no denominator, but we have different denominators. So we can't scrape in this example. So everything is already as an improper fraction or a regular fraction. There are no mixed numbers. So I'm looking at the denominators 3 and 2, and I'm going to multiply it by its LCM. 6 times 1/3 a plus 6 times -1/3 equals 6 times 1/2 a plus 6 times 1 plus 6 times 1/2 a. 3 in the denominator cancels. 2 times 1a gives me 2a. 3 in the denominator, 6 is 2 times -1, which is -2, equals 2 cancels with 6 3 times 1a is 3a, plus 6 times 1 is 6, and then 2 in the denominator, 6 3 times a gives me 3a. Now, remember, we have like terms on the same side of the equal sign. So I'm going to simplify first. Always remember to simplify. So 2a minus 2, I'm going to combine 3a and 3a to make 6a plus 6. And now I'm going to move the variables first. I'm going to subtract 2a. I get -2 equals 4a plus 6. I'm going to subtract 6. I'm going to get -8 equals 4a. Divide by 4, divide by 4, -2 equals a. I'm pretty sure there were only 12 problems on the assessment. Yes. All right. Good luck. Come and see me if you need some help.